Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'll call this meeting of Planning and Economic Development Committee to order for Tuesday, May the 2nd, 2023. We start off with roll call, please, Madam Clerk. This is electronic. Just for info, Councillor Pickles sent me a message telling me he wouldn't be able to be here. He was going to join us, and now he sent me a message. He's Wi-Fi challenged, trying to find a place to connect to us. So hopefully be there, and Mayor Collier's online. Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adopt the minutes of the Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting from April 4th, 2023, please? Moved by Councillor Kerr, seconded by Mayor Watton. Any comments, questions, or otherwise? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We now have number 4 is a statutory public meeting. It's report 2023 P13, which is on page 16 of our agenda. It's an application to amend the Durham official plan submitted by Michael Smith Planning Consultants Development Coordinators Limited on behalf of Groen Lee Limited to permit the severance of a farm dwelling rendered surplus as a result of the consolidation of non-abutting farm properties in the township of Brock, file OPA 2023-03. This portion of the meeting constitutes the statutory public information meeting under the Planning Act for a proposed amendment to the Durham Regional Official Plan submitted by Michael Smith Planning Consultants Development Coordinators on behalf of Groen Lee Limited to permit the severance of a farm dwelling rendered surplus as a result of the consolidation of non-abutting farm properties in the township of Brock. Notice of the public meeting was advertised in the Brock Citizen newspaper, and a notice was mailed to landowners and residents within 120 meters of the subject property. It's important that those who may have an interest in this matter make a submission prior to Regional Council making a decision. As a reminder, any person may make written submissions at any time before Regional Council makes a decision. Anyone wishing to be notified of future meetings of the Planning and Economic Development Committee at which the proposed amendment will be considered, or to be notified of the Regional Council's decision on the subject amendment, must submit a written request to the Commissioner of Planning and Economic Development. We will start with a staff presentation. Sarah, can you tell me how to pronounce your last name so that I don't butcher it?
Haj Saleh.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, committee members, ladies and gentlemen. An application to amend the Regional Official Plan was submitted by Michael Smith Planning Consulting Development Coordinators Limited on behalf of Groen Lee Limited to permit the severance of a farm dwelling rendered surplus as a result of consolidation of non-abutting farm properties. Next slide, please. If I can draw your attention to map 1 on the screen, the subject site outlined in yellow is municipally addressed as 1705 Concession Road 7 and is located northeast of Sutherland urban area, more specifically west of Ridge Road and east of Side Road 18A in the township of Brock. The subject site is square in shape and is approximately 40 hectares and is actively cultivated as cash crop. The southern portion of the site includes the residential dwelling, the accessory structures, and a livestock barn. The existing accessory buildings and a livestock barn are to be removed. Surrounding land uses include woodlands, wetlands, agriculture, and rural residential. The proposed severance shown on the map is 0.4 hectares, which is approximately 1 acre, and the retained farm parcel will be just under 40 hectares, which is approximately 99 acres. In support of the application, the applicant submitted a planning justification report, an environmental site screening questionnaire, and a land holding inventory. And in regards to the land use policy, the provincial policy statement, the Greenbelt Plan, and the regional official plan may support the severance subject to satisfying various criteria. Next slide, please. If I can draw everyone's attention to the map on the screen, the land holding inventory indicates that Guan Li currently owns 22 agricultural properties in the township of Brock. In regards to agency consultation, the proposed amendment application has been circulated to review agencies for commenting, including the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Regional Health Department, the Regional Works Department, and Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority. And in terms of the public consultation, a notice of this public meeting has been advertised in the applicable newspaper. We have also mailed out a notice of this public meeting to property owners who are within 120 meters of the subject site. As of today, our department did not receive any concerns regarding the proposal. To conclude, a recommendation report will be brought forward to the Planning and Economic Development Committee once agency comments are received and we have completed our analysis of the proposed amendment application. This concludes my presentation. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Sarah. Any questions? Councillor Kerr?
Thank you, Sarah Hashale. I'm just getting the practice in so we get this right. This is probably a pretty obvious answer to this, but I don't think this has come up before in one of these. Is there any concern with a farm property that is rendered under 100 acres by the severance of a part of that farm property for a residential dwelling not per the farm use? Have I made that clear?
Through you, Mr. Chair. To understand your question, the current residential use is not needed for farm use.
Right.
And it's not being rented to any farm employees at the moment.
So it would potentially be sold off? That's how that would. So
Correct.
my question was whether by severing that and selling that off, rendering the original farm property of 100 acres less than 100 acres, there's no concern or any issues with that? I'm not a farmer, so I don't know, but I just want to know from a zoning planning
Yeah,
perspective.
through you, Mr. Chair. The retained land would be approximately 99 acres, which would be an applicable site for farming. However, the applicant also applied for a rezoning, and all the specific and the sizing would be proposed during the zoning application as well. But
Okay.
There's no concerns or any issues. That we
Thank you.
have with
That's
that.
bingo.
Okay.
Thanks, Sarah. All right. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mayor Watton?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to you, Sarah. Just a quick question. I noticed that the severed property is going to have the accessory buildings and livestock barn removed. Is that required through our planning, or is that a choice of the individual, or is that something that we just make them do?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that is to conform to the minimum distance separation, and also a requirement to our regional official plan policies as well. So in order to conform,
So they're only allowed the house on that property, but what if the barn wasn't used for farming?
in that case, it would be rezoned to prohibit any livestock use.
Okay, so we're asking them to remove it?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we're not, the applicant is proposing to remove it. If the applicant chooses to keep the livestock barn and the accessory structure, they would need to be rezoned to prohibit any livestock use.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thank you.
We do have Gord Mahoney, Michael Smith, planning consultants online. I don't think Gord wants to speak. He's here in case we have any questions. Am I correct, Madam Clerk? Do you know? Gord, were you looking to speak, or were you just here to answer questions? Can you hear me? You have to turn on your request to speak button, and then there we go. Were you looking to speak to this matter,
Morning,
Gord,
Mr.
or were you just here to answer questions?
I was looking to speak.
Go
The
ahead.
staff did an
Yeah.
excellent job.
Go ahead.
No,
Go
the
ahead
staff did an
then.
excellent job reviewing the application. So I would be here to answer any questions. I do have maybe One point of clarification regarding the zoning bylaw, it has been submitted, it has gone to a public meeting. It is looking to rezone the property to prohibit residential use on the retained land or the farm property, protect the woodland that is in the northeast corner, and then limit the size and the uses that are permitted on the residential property. And with that, the staff did an excellent job, and I'm here to answer any of the committee's questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any questions for the consultant? Looks like you're going to get off early, easy, Gord. There's no questions. Thank you very much. So there's, on page 16 of your agenda is the start of the report. There's a recommendation. The Planning Economic Development Committee recommends that the Commissioners' Report 2023 P13 be received for information and that all submissions received be referred to the Planning Division for consideration. Mayor Watton moves that, seconded by Councillor Kerr. Any comments or otherwise? All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you very much. That concludes the statutory public meeting. We now have some staff presentations. First off, Glenn McFarland, the Rural Program Specialist, is going to talk to us about North Durham Online Business Toolkits, which is 2023 Info 27, item 8.1A on your agenda. Morning, Glenn.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Perfect. I'll just get this up on screen here. There we go. Okay. Good morning. So I am just going to very quickly today go over the North Durham Business Toolkits. So I am Glenn. I'm the Rural Economic Development Specialist with the Region of Durham. So as part of this role, I support economic development in the townships of Scugog, Uxbridge, and Brock. So this presentation is just going to be a quick walkthrough of the toolkits that we've developed for the townships of Scugog, Uxbridge, and Brock. It's building on Staff Report 2023 Info-27, which has been pulled. And I wanted to also mention that the development of the business toolkits was identified as an action item in the Growing North Durham Plan. That is within the prosperity pillar in the investment readiness goal, which can be found on page 23. So I'm just going to provide a very quick walkthrough of the toolkits since that report was pulled. But before I do that, I just wanted to give a bit of background as to what these toolkits are. So the North Durham toolkits are a one-stop shop for prospective investors or existing business owners or entrepreneurs. So due to the absence of full-time economic development staff at the local level across the North, information of interest to the business community was very scattered across different websites, be it the Invest Durham site, township web pages, the websites of different support organizations like the Chambers of Commerce, Boards of Trade, things like that. So all in all, this really meant extra work for the business community, which in turn is a barrier for investment. So we saw this as an opportunity to create a centralized location where staff can point these groups. So I wanted to mention before I go through it that these pages are not meant to house a lot of information on the web pages themselves. The more information that's housed directly on the web page, the more easily they become out of date. We're not trying to duplicate work. What we're trying to do is kind of have a centralized location that we can point these folks to. And so this is really done through links. So you'll see throughout the toolkits, there's not a lot of information on them, but links to different pages. So without further ado, I will go through them here. So as you can see on screen here, we have the Brock Business Toolkit up. Here is the Scugog Business Toolkit and Uxbridge right here. So they follow a similar theme. While they are township specific in the branding and in the information, they do follow a similar look. In order to get to them, you can do uxbridge.ca/business toolkit, scugog.ca/business toolkit, or townshipofbrock.ca/business toolkit, or they can be found up here. So in Uxbridge, in the business and development tab, you can see the business toolkit right there. Same for Scugog under do business, and Brock under the building and business development tab. So as you can see here, the branding is township specific. So we have it for Brock here, and Scugog, we've tried to reflect the look and feel and colors of the community. So each subheading has a number of drop-down menus to deliver a clean look that allow users to find what they need depending on what stage that they're at. So we can see up top here, the Uxbridge Advantage. That is really for folks who are looking at Uxbridge as a place to do business, so they're prospective investors. Next, we have starting or expanding. So that's for folks who have already decided on the township as a place to do business and are looking to get started. I'll go through that in more detail in a moment. And then for existing folks in the township here, there's operating your business. So if we go up to the top, we'll go to Scugog's here because I know we have Mayor Watton in the room. We have the Scugog Advantage. So again, this is for prospective investors. So we've got information here on the community. So the community profile from the township site, the Durham region profile, and socioeconomic data. We've also housed here different reports and strategies. So the Growing North Durham plan is here, the Growing Agri-Food Durham plan, the broadband strategy, and the Ready Set Future plan. Next goes down to starting or expanding your business. So we've tried to do this in a chronological order of what would make sense from a business who's decided on the township as a place to set up. So first, from site selection, we've linked the Invest in Scugog site here, which I keep track of and add new sites to that are either in the downtown, the employment area, or the commercial area. Next, we point them to the development and planning page so that they can book a pre-consultation or check out different things that they'll need to know from a planning perspective. Then it goes through to the building permits, development charges, development incentives through the CIP. Here, for specific instances, if a business needs a license or a permit, we've laid that out. There's a tab here for if it's a home-based business. In the Uxbridge one for home-based, there is a bylaw for home occupation that we've included there. Doesn't exist in Scugog or Brock, which is why it's not there. Here for entrepreneurship resources, this is one where there's more information directly on the page, as this is something that economic development would keep track of ourselves. So we have BACD, Spark Center, Spark Angel, etc. And then a way for them to contact the township if they'd like attendance at a ribbon cutting or a business opening. And next we go to operating your business. So here we've got information about hiring local talent. So these lead you to the web pages at each of the post-secondary institutions for employers. We've also got the Durham Region Employer Playbook, which was done up by the Durham Local Immigration Partnership on how to attract and onboard immigrants into the workplace, and information for the Community Employment Office. So North Durham actually has a job developer that works through Durham College, who is, their role is to help businesses in Scugog, Uxbridge, and Brock find employees. So we've linked her contact info right there. Next, shop local initiatives, digital adoption through Digital Main Street, and then the link to each business support organization available to businesses in Scugog. So again, this is township specific. So in Uxbridge, this would obviously be the Uxbridge Chamber and BIA, etc. And at the bottom, information to contact us. I normally say I don't have all of the answers, but normally know someone who does. So we want to make it very easy to provide them with someone to contact at the region who can point them in the right direction, be it locally, regionally, etc. So as next steps, we will continue to work collaboratively with the township comms staff to ensure that the toolkits are kept up to date and new info is added as needed. They've been fantastic so far. Every update that we've sent through has been up pretty much the same day, so we'll continue to keep that going. Also, the members of council from across the north will receive printed postcards, which I do have copies of here. So there's what it'll look like, and then on the back, a QR code. We welcome them to hand those out at grand openings, meetings with the business community, etc. So we're sending those out to councilors, the libraries, the business support organizations, and the townships themselves. We're also going to be starting a social media campaign, 3 individual campaigns. So Brock's is already going, as I presented to Brock Cow last week. I'll be presenting to Scugog on Monday and Uxbridge the week after, and we'll roll out the postcards and the campaigns directly after that. And then with that, I would just encourage all township staff to familiarize themselves with the toolkits so that they can point prospective investors, entrepreneurs, and current business owners to the webpage. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great, thanks very much, Glenn. Any questions? Got to hit your button there,
I'll get used to that yet.
Mayor Watton.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Glenn. And as you saw, I did pull the report. Most of my questions you've just nicely answered, so thank you very much. I did want to say thank you to you and your team for, I think it's a great initiative and a great project for us in the north. I do have a couple of questions, though. With us moving forward with the BR&E, how will that influence or impact anything on this, or will it?
Yeah, so great question. Through the chair, so the BR&E webpage we do currently have separate from this. So for the BR&E, we're pointing people to that where they can sign up and learn about that program. We will be taking the postcards to the interviews so that we think that a lot of the information that will come up in the interviews could be answered through this. So we'll provide those. And then anything that we learn throughout the process that is a reoccurring theme, that's the beauty of this, is we can add to it. So I'll be keeping a close eye on this page to both ensure that it's up to date and that relevant information is there. So I think the BR&E will be a great opportunity to sort of learn what information isn't on here that could be.
Thank you. And further, if I may, Mr. Chair, just one further question. You're the lucky person who gets to keep it up to date. So my question is, how are you apprised of site locations? I don't know that the township necessarily, the planning department necessarily receives them. So how are you kept up to date on them?
Yeah, thank you. So through the chair, when it comes to keeping in Scugog up to date, primarily go through either word of mouth or just a scouring of the internet. So for things like Realtor or those different sites, we look at specific areas, the downtown, the employment area, and the commercial area. So anything that comes on the market in those areas, I add to that site, which is linked through the toolkit here. So also we hear through like word of mouth and things like that through different landowners, especially in the employment area. Also, I attend the Scugog Chamber meetings on a monthly basis, so that's a great opportunity to learn about what's up for sale or for lease in the downtown especially.
Would there be any merit in also reaching out to the realtors?
Through the chair.
Or asking them to connect to you when they hear of something?
Yes, for sure. So in my time at the region, I've been working on sort of building those relationships with the realtors, especially across the north in the commercial sector. So I have some good contacts there and have encouraged them to reach out if there's anything that's on the market that would be of interest to investors.
That's great, thank you. And I do have to commend you. I like the cleanness of and the layout of it. I think it's makes it quite simple. So congratulations. Thank you.
Thank
you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thanks, Glenn. It does look interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's purpose-built for the north, which is good. And I think it looks good as well as what Mayor Watton said. So good job.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Greg Pereira, Manager Transportation Planning, and Danielle Cup, Project Planner for the Freight and Goods Movement Forum 2023 P14, item 7.2A. Morning, Greg, Danielle.
Good morning, Chair and committee members. Maybe we can have the presentation up. Great. My name is Greg Pereira, and I'm the Manager of Transportation Planning in the Planning Division. And together with my colleague Danielle Culp, we're presenting an overview of the region's Freight and Goods Movement Forum that took place last year. We'd like to acknowledge the work and support of IBI, Arcadis, and David Krieger Consultants, Inc., including the regional staff, in particular the Economic Development and Works and CEO's Office, along with the industry partners and presenters who together helped us deliver a thought-inspiring dialogue on key issues and trends related to the freight and goods movement in Durham. Next slide, please. Before we dive into the forum itself and the details, it's important to understand the importance of goods movement and how the region is uniquely placed in this sphere, which this slide and the following slide will talk about. Durham region is one of the fastest growing communities within the Golden Horseshoe. We'll see approximately a doubling in jobs and residents by 2051. With these changes in population and the economy, there is an increased emphasis to ensure the efficient movement of freight and goods movement to support our economy, to achieve our development aspirations, to optimize our transportation network, to support our economy, which are all integral components to keep a Durham competitive landscape. Next slide, please. One of the drivers of our economy is goods movement. It employs 10,000 people in the freight and goods movement related industries across the region, may it be aggregate, agriculture, warehousing, vehicle manufacturing, to name a few. Durham has a wide range of existing infrastructure that supports freight and goods movement, such as 400 series highways and regional roads, with commercial vehicles carrying freight of upwards of 400 million in economic value on a daily basis. A deep sea port that processes over 750 metric tons of cargo annually, an airport that is projected to generate airport fees of over 5 million annually, and an extensive rail network by CP and CN that carries approximately 250 billion worth of goods annually. All of these infrastructure components contribute to Durham's strategic goods movement network. With this critical amount of movement and investment, it is clear that we need to look to the future and expand choices on how, where, and when people and goods travel to optimize our existing and new infrastructure. Next slide, please. The key purpose of the forum was to help us learn firsthand from industry experts who are on the ground and the communities we serve, and to identify challenges and trends facing the industry that produce, move, and store goods. The forum also was a springboard to help us reimagine the role and types of technologies that we could harness to improve efficiency and connectivity prior to embarking on the update of the Durham Freight and Goods Movement Strategy, which was last updated in 2010. The forum had three objectives. The first was to identify certain goods issues, both globally and locally, and to identify ways to address them in partnership with all tiers of government, from federal, provincial, regional, and area municipal agencies, and also industry leaders. Secondly, we aim to foster collaboration and partnerships. The forum created an opportunity for collaboration and exposure to different perspectives, all in one space. Lastly, it helped inform future policy development by laying the groundwork to improve Durham's position and offerings from a global and local perspective. Next slide, please. Freight and goods movement is a key component reflected in the region's policies, such as the Durham's Regional Strategic Plan and the Durham Transportation Master Plan. Existing policies and goals contained within these documents demonstrates the region's commitment to freight and goods movement through the identification of goods movement, certain directions of which the forum has helped achieve. Next slide, please. The forum itself was hosted virtually over 2 days. The first day focused on global trends and issues, and the second day centered on factors that influence Durham, such as agribusiness, advanced mobility, energy, the Hamilton and Oshawa Port Authority, and the future technologies and research. The forum brought together 71 participants from across North America on goods movement spectrum. It featured 10 sessions on a range of topics related to goods movements trends, issues, and opportunities, which my colleague Daniel Culp will dive deeper into the next few slides. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Greg. Several key themes emerged from the insights shared through the forum sessions, and there's 6 key trends and actions that we want to share with you today that we felt were most relevant to Durham specifically. For starters, congestion, connectivity, and access challenges to moving freight were raised across multiple sessions during the forum. There is a clear need to strengthen and integrate multimodal infrastructure by improving north-south connections within the region and leveraging our multimodal assets and access to rail and waterways to help move more goods faster and more efficiently while taking pressure off of our roadways. We also learned that we need to factor farm equipment, cargo bikes, and other goods movement related vehicles into street design and road infrastructure to accommodate vehicles that require more space and travel at slower speeds to ensure goods and people are moved efficiently and safely. We also heard loud and clear about the importance of the impacts that goods movement has on our environment and that we need to ensure there is a clear commitment to reducing our environmental impacts. Accelerating clean energy production and environmentally conscious practices in how we transport goods and people by increasing incentives and investment in charging and refueling infrastructure to accommodate the needs of medium and heavy-duty vehicles can help us achieve decarbonization commitments and flatten the region's carbon curve. This leads to another key trend around the need to increase opportunities and efficiencies of goods movement through emerging technologies, such as advancing the electrification of trucks and autonomous vehicle technologies. Through the forum, we learned that larger scale vehicles, like trucks, need batteries with larger storage capacities and ultra-fast charging capabilities, which are critical to support the shift to electrification of our fleet vehicles. This means that in order for Durham to remain competitive and at the forefront of tech transformation, we need to work closely with our innovation centers, academic institutions, and companies to accelerate the integration of mobility, electrification, and autonomous technology into daily practice. We heard about how labor shortages and skill gaps are impacting delivery of goods and that we need to invest in growing and attracting new talent and skill upgrades. In particular, we learned that the trucking and automotive industries are one of the most affected in terms of feeling the impacts of labor and skill gaps, with the average age of truckers and vacancy of jobs both increasing, coupled with new technology innovations within the automotive industry. We learned that investment in skill upgrades is necessary and employers need to look for new ways to promote growth within the goods movement sector to keep pace with demand and help retain and attract new talent. There is also a growing importance in the need to continue to invest in vehicle manufacturing and how critical it is to leverage our strategic location and position as a leader in the automotive sector to help expand supply and jobs in the region and province more broadly. Lastly, we need to focus on increasing e-commerce, automation, and other transformative goods delivery options by creating policies that encourage disruptive technologies and applications that help maximize efficiency and balance the needs of industry partners and our communities. Next slide, please. Based on the dialogue shared at the forum, there are 4 key takeaways for the region. The first is the need for freight supportive guidelines. Freight and goods movement is a very specialized field and it has its own unique needs. By clearly identifying factors that influence freight in the region through the updating of the freight and goods movement strategy, it will help us identify specific issues and actions needed to support goods movement and the economy that broader transportation and land use planning policies cannot capture alone. Secondly, we need to focus on cleaner refueling and mobility practices by investing in ultra-fast charging technologies that can support the shift in electrification beyond that of passenger vehicles and towards that of truck and longer haul fleets. Thirdly, One of our top issues identified by forum participants and attendees was that congestion on our roadways, specifically the 400 series highways, is heavily contributing to delays in transporting and receiving goods, and that this should be one of the top priorities that the region explores when it updates its freight and goods movement strategy. Further dialogue and attention is needed through the advancement of the freight and goods movement strategy to unpack additional options of how we can further alleviate congestion on our roadways and help move more people and goods faster and more efficiently. Lastly, we need to accelerate the investment in agriculture and goods movement hubs. The region plays a key role in getting goods from farm to table, and it is important that we focus on growing economies of scale to improve efficiency in a sector that is so integral to our local economy. Next slide, please. So where do we go from here? Our next priority is taking what we've learned through the forum to help scope the update of the region's freight and goods movement strategy. Through this critical next step, it will help us make progress on a number of key actions stemming from the forum, such as revisiting and assessing our goods movement network to improve reliability and integration with other modes, furthering the shift to more sustainable goods movement practices, enhancing the profile of the region's transportation and logistics sectors, and strengthening industry-government dialogue to address new challenges and seek buy-in through meaningful terms. Next slide, please. In summary, the forum helped build the region's reputation as a leader in freight and goods movement and will help us keep pace with industry needs and ensure we continue to achieve the region's economic and transportation goals. This concludes our presentation, and we welcome any comments you may have on the information we shared today. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to the daring duo who gave the presentation this morning. Good morning, well done. I have a series of questions, not in any particular order, but perhaps in the order presented. I'm curious as to the labor shortage, talent, skill shortage that you identified in this area. And what I'm curious about is what types of jobs, where would they acquire the education and programming and training, and what remuneration basically are we looking at? So how do we market this to perhaps high school students choosing between university and college depending on what the education stream and the hopeful outcome is at the end? I mean, one of the benefits of college, and I was a college professor for 30 years, is that college education is more real world oriented as opposed to theoretical. Not everything at the university is theoretical. But what I'm saying is, where do they get the training? What does it consist of? What kind of types of jobs would they be looking to fill or are looking to be filled? And what kind of remuneration are we looking at? How attractive a proposition is that for people seeking where to go in life?
Through the chair, I think we'll tag team on this one. With regards to what we heard at the forum itself, the truck industry is going through a transition where it's an older population, and a lot of bringing in new people to the industry has been very slow. It's been less attractive. There are other lucrative, positions. There's less long-haul components that are not attractive to the younger generation with regards to attracting that particular talent that's required. So that's one of the things. I know that Durham College actually has a trucking driving school program, and that's one of the things that we'd like to maybe also accelerate and have partnerships with. They were also part of the forum itself. So there is that connection already that we have. On the other components that we heard is the element of automation, especially automation with regards to technology and the communication as we move to EVs, electric vehicles, what that telecommunication is within that in that sphere. And I think we also have that through our economic development team that are advancing that that portfolio. Anything to add, Danielle?
I guess one additional thing is to build on what Greg just mentioned in terms of where we're going and this shift to more electrification, more automation. There is a skill gap there, right? So through Durham College, Ontario Tech, there are increasing programs that are being offered. So I think to your point,
there's more that can be done to work in partnership to help offer, I guess, a broader audience potential opportunities of how they could get involved. But we also have to work with those that are hiring to identify what growth looks like. Not everyone wants to, you may start out driving a truck, but perhaps you have a different goal and you want to get more into the management side or a different aspect of the business that just isn't being broadcast. So we would really want to work in tandem to unpack that a bit more through the updating of the strategy itself, and then with industry partners to see how we can make this more attractive to, you know, an incoming cohort, so to speak.
Okay, so I'm hearing two things. One is actual drivers, movers of the goods, and the other one's maybe in logistics and just-in-time kind of technology management and also infrastructure management. Those are the three areas that you're looking at?
So there is the actual the physical component. Then there's also the technology side of things as we transit. As also that it's a wider spectrum. It's not just sitting behind a wheel and driving, but it's also the technology that drives the vehicles themselves, the manufacturing of them, the communication of them. As we all know, like most vehicles are have a lot of components with regards to the computers themselves. But it's as we move further to that element of, you know, autonomous vehicles, EVs themselves, it's having that particular skill set locally.
So every hour a truck isn't on the road moving is an hour lost. Productivity, profit, moving goods, service to the customer, and so forth. So the concern I hear from truckers, and one of my friends was a lifelong trucker, was the downtime. And where do you place the infrastructure? And would they be expected on their route to take time out of their route to charge because the trucks don't have the same range as fuel-driven trucks? So I think that's going to be a challenge. The amount of trucks that we have right now that are able to do that are just not on the market. It's good to plan, but just be aware that's going to be a challenge. I was curious of the term disruptive technologies. When I think of the word disruptive, it's not usually in a positive term. Can you define that for me and just explain how that fit into your slide set, please?
Through the chair, disruptive technologies I would consider things that we don't commonly have at our use, but give us some thought with regards to how we would advance. So, for instance, I would say, you know, cell phones in the past, right, weren't necessarily the norm, right, but was considered a disruptive technology because it changed the way that we would think or do business. Similar with regards to, I would say, the way that the car industry is moving, or even that of, say, for instance, micromobility. E-bikes or e-scooters, and how that's impacting, say, for instance, e-cargo in the industry, or you know, Canada Post is using those as ways to get from point to do shorter trips, right, more sustainable. And so it's creating that disruptive component within the market that where you typically would have somebody that would deliver, or larger vehicles that would deliver parcels. It's now you know, more convenient at a different scale.
So disruptive in the sense of changing past practices into opportunity for improvement.
That's right.
Okay, thank you. That sounds better. I think I dealt with the electrification infrastructure previously. The truck-only lanes. I guess the concern I have, we also have these bus-only lanes, or, you know, lanes where there's more than one person in the car, so that you encourage people to carpool and so forth. But there's still an awful lot of cars on the road with one driver, and there are also trucks in multiple lanes. So on one side, I guess the idea is if you put all the trucks in one lane, would that improve efficiency for the trucks but also for the drivers? Or by doing that and having a bus-only lane, does that actually create congestion for the millions of drivers out there who need to get from A to B?
Through the chair, that's actually a study that we're going to we're presently embarking on with York University Engineering Department. What we're looking at from a large scope of services is that we would look at analyze where the trucks would be, whether it be the shoulder lane or whether it be closer to the median, and what those benefits are for the economy. And we're looking at whether that would go the full length within Durham on the 401 series highway, One of the other components to that particular practice is the weaving. It's also to quantify how many trucks actually go originate from Durham or onto the 401, using that as an example, versus how many go east-west, from Port Montreal to Windsor or to Niagara. So it's understanding what that travel behavior would be like. And it also, if you would consider the common practice right now on the 401, it's roughly about two lanes are occupied by staggered trucks, tractor trailers, which reduces the capacity of a particular lane for vehicles. And so that would also be looked at, what would be that component. And we talk about, you mentioned about lost time. It's also the understanding that if you do have a free-flowing movement of goods, knowing that, as I mentioned, it's over nearly $400 million travels on trucks on a daily basis. It's looking at what that would be from a value perspective.
Okay. So we won't even start the discussion about the province buying back the 407, which would automatically alleviate pressure on the 401. And the last question I had, Mr. Chair, is mentioned about an RFP, but I wasn't entirely sure what the RFP was going to be for. So could you kindly, is it possible to give us a little clarity or a little more information on what the purpose and direction of the RFP is, please?
So the RFP and the timing for that, we're looking at. So one of the reasons I should back up here through the chair, we did this forum, and typically we would engage with stakeholders through a process, through a project. But we decided that we wanted to identify what those particular issues were, and also what the pain points were. So therefore, we could scope the update to the region's strategic freight and goods movement plan. Right now, it was part of an attachment from 2010, and it hasn't really given the same prominence and I would say the same attention with regards to how important it is to move freight and goods. So that's the RFP that we're talking about. We're going to create a scope of work, so therefore we could update and build upon the forum's discussion.
So you'd look for an outside consultancy?
We would.
Specialist. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you. Mayor Watton? Nope. Sorry, I turned on two microphones. Can you turn off your microphone, Councillor Shahid, and then hit a request again? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to the presenters. Just a couple of questions. When you held the forum, and this is just more out of curiosity, was 71 a good number, or was it by invitation, or how did you get the participants?
Through the chair, we did advertise through the different links. We had representation we focused on moderators, and also had help from the consultants, IBI Arcadis and David Krieger, who are experts in that particular sphere. Knowing that staff had a particular limitation with regards to actually reaching out to certain, I would say, industry leaders. So we had representation from Walmart, from the Port Authority, from academia, from BC, and from New York as well. So therefore, we gained a different perspective and a larger perspective that we could bring to Durham itself. So over the last, I would say, over the 2 days, we positioned it, and also because of COVID, we had a platform, an online platform that we broke it up into 2 days that we found that that resonated well with participants. So 71, I would say, people that participated was very good, especially those in attendance. We had attendance from Transport Canada, from Metrolinx, MTO. So the people in the room and those discussions held were quite valuable.
Thank you. That's great. And I do have just a comment, maybe, and I'm not sure if I'll come up with a question to it, but what I basically hear is that, and Councillor Kerr mentioned it as well, the real challenge will be for getting the drivers. Ultimately, I mean, even for, the autonomous or the EV or all those things, for younger people, those are the appeals. The long haul drive is not. So what can be done to incentivize for drivers, or is that through this process you're hoping to do that, or are we going to eliminate the drivers and put it all on a rail? Just making it very simple, but you know what I mean.
Through the chair, I think through the strategy update, we'll also dive into that topic a bit further. Part of this particular project, we did have help from economic development staff, so we'd lean on them as well with regards to what strategies we can employ.
Sorry, if I can just add to that as well. You raised a really good point that I want to emphasize is while it's important that we focus on how we're moving people today, we also want to emphasize the other assets. You mentioned rail, you mentioned our waterways, and those are other ways where we can still complete similar trips depending on what goods are being moved and realize, it'll help with the congestion. It will help get potentially new people that are interested in the industry to the components that they're most intrigued about, while also ensuring that we're still moving critical goods and movement in an effective way. So I think that this is a multi-pronged approach through our next steps.
And I would agree. And I mean, post-pandemic, I think a lot of people have just reassessed what they want to do and how much time they want to spend working and so on and so forth. So I do think we have a big challenge ahead, but thank you for your presentation. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And I think the attraction to drivers is going to be similar to the attraction to people to skilled trades, right? That the government was working on similar type atmosphere, if you will, for the employee, right? Councillor Shahid.
Thank you so much. Through you, Chair Chapman. Appreciate the presentation and the hard work behind it. I just wanted to understand the future of autonomous busing or cars or so on. We did have a trial in Whitby, which went a little another side. So I just wanted to know where we are at over there. Is what other R&D is going into it, and where are we in terms of bringing into delivery, right? Because that pilot program was wherever it was, and I did take part in it. It was a very sensitive bus. Even high winds or leaves would hit it and it would stop. So it seemed that it needed a lot of work, although I was very happy that it did come to our municipality. So that's one of my questions, and then I can ask another one after that.
Through the chair, we weren't involved in that particular pilot project through DRT. I do know that that particular project did end. Maybe I could ask if Dan Ruby or Simon Gill from Economic Development could touch on that.
Looks like the chair might have a response to that.
So thank you, Chair Chapman. And on that project, the project was interesting as a first, but I just want to remind members of council that the vehicle, when it failed, did not fail in the autonomous mode. It was actually being driven by the driver at that time in manual mode. So the program itself, well, in the end, there was a lot of press around the challenges. It's important to understand that the technology, while challenging, did work, and that the failure of that technology was actually done at the hands of the individual that was driving that vehicle at the time. So as we progress down the road and as more and more comes on to line, I just don't want the project to say that the project was a failure. The project was the start of a journey, and that will be happening throughout North America. The project was a success. The end result was not good, but the end result was not the project's problem.
And as much as we have that question, this is about the freights and good. I don't think Greg and Danielle can talk about buses. That's a completely different department that's working on any of those things. The autonomous vehicles they're talking about might be down the road for tractor trailers, for example, delivering whatever they deliver.
And exactly, that's exactly what I wanted to know. Where is the autonomous future? Where it's standing, and where are we?
Okay, so for tractor trailers, goods and services, do you have any crystal ball stuff on that, Greg?
Through the chair, I see Simon. I think he could answer that better than I can.
Simon, go ahead.
Sure. Through you, Chair, to the councillor, I'll provide a very high-level prediction as to where the industry is going. This is one of those disruptive technologies that was discussed earlier that will change the nature and the way that we move everything around. Right now, many jurisdictions outlaw autonomous technologies because it's not quite yet at the point where it's deemed safe enough to transport people around reliably without a risk of collision, but it will eventually get to that point. It's just a matter of when. Our future of transportation is electric and is autonomous. And if I had to predict, I would say that probably in my lifetime, it may be illegal in some jurisdictions to pilot a vehicle under your own power and your own guidance. It may eventually become legislated that it is so safe to travel around in an autonomous vehicle that is the mandatory means of transportation. We'll eventually get there, and our institutions and our innovation community in Durham Region is well positioned to do some of the great R&D around that. Ontario Tech University has the ACE Center. They do a lot of great testing on electric and connected and autonomous vehicles. We're part of OVIN, the Ontario Vehicle Innovation Network, which is a consortium of different innovation community partners doing research on this all the time, and we're very tapped into the global efforts to advance autonomous technologies. But we're certainly not there yet, and I definitely see this impacting the movement of freight and goods in the future as well, as it will everything.
And that's exactly what it is, through you, Chair Chapman. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, I
where
think
the
we have
future is.
to, and Simon sort of said it in a roundabout way, I think we have to sort out cars first, right, before we get into 45-ton trucks going down the highway with nobody in them, right? Yeah, I think there's a little bit of work to be done. Simon is very optimistic that he might see you won't be able to drive your own vehicle in his lifetime. I'm not too sure about mine, but anyway.
Well, I grew
I'm a
up
little
wa-
older than Simon, though.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this matter, on this presentation?
I just have another question now. I don't know how it will be in the realm of it, but I will just phrase it and you let me know.
Okay.
I'll get the wrath of Chair Chapman. So the one thing that I'm seeing in my community is town of Whitby is that freight trains are being stalled for days and months, and then we have to connect with someone at CN to get them moving and out of our communities because they're just traveling. So that's one of my question of why.
Freight trains?
Yeah.
Greg, you...
Through the chair, I would say that the freight train corridors are meant there for the trains themselves, so the CP and CN, given the amount of goods that they do transport. I know that we do have a lot of logistics hubs with regards to manufacturing and connections, but I guess it comes down to the routing, where they're going to head to, depending on is it long haul? I call long haul from Montreal through to Woodbridge or even that beyond. I know that there, with regards to tracks, there's the Lakeshore track is heavily utilized, and it is one of those pinch points with regards to passenger trains as well. There is that logistics component that needs to be factored in. So it's all based on that particular timing, and a lot of the corridors are owned by CP and CN, and which they control themselves.
Yeah, because on our bridges on Brock Street, and few residents have been asking of when this will go, and they're pretty heavily stacked. So my concern is if there has fuel or something like that spills, or the added load onto the bridge itself, can it take it, and so on and so forth. I did ask that question within our town as well, and I'm waiting for an answer. But this is an ongoing thing since late last year, which I never saw in the community before.
Through the chair, with regards to rail safety, that's something that is taken quite seriously in that industry. with regards to fatalities or any type of incidents get reported and followed up. Having in a previous life worked for Metrolinx, knowing that the safety component is top of mind. Even working within the corridor, there's flagging costs to do any type of particular work and notification. With regards to structures themselves, they are built like anything else with regards to flexion from engineering perspective. So the cargo that they're using, and it's all factored in with regards to the speed of the train, how many carts are required, the locomotive speed. So I think with regards to those specifications, I think there should be less concern.
Thank you. That'll be all, Chair Chapman.
Yeah, and of
Thank
course,
you.
if they're just sitting someplace too, you don't know whether they're full or empty. Because
No idea.
a full car sitting someplace is dollars lost to the train company. They're gonna wanna, the only time you see a lot of them is around some of the hubs where they're trying to gather enough of the cars that are going in the same direction, from here to Montreal or wherever. But I would suggest if they're just parked someplace on a sideline, it's like the GO trains that are parked, off hours down there, they're empty, right? Because otherwise it's money, right? And that's what they work on. Next, we have John Neal. Councillor Neal.
Yes. Can you see me? Hear me?
Yeah, I can see your smiling face. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks very much. No, my question, I guess it hasn't been asked yet, is what about the weight of the electric vehicles on the regional road infrastructure, if that hasn't been touched on yet? I believe the EVs have never been heavier, especially the concerns about the pickup trucks from what the media is putting out there in regards to the discussion on the ongoing discussions on EVs through you, Chair Chapman. And also, what about our bridges going forward, the specs and everything for those to be built and the existing ones?
So are you asking about weight in relation to
Yeah.
wear and tear? Because
Yes.
we do have road restrictions, and whether it's an EV vehicle or a gas diesel powered vehicle, the road restrictions would be on the total weight of the vehicle. But to his question, Greg, he's asking about I guess the weight of these on our bridges and all that. I would suggest that works and engineering take all that stuff into consideration when we build these things, like when we build the roads, I mean, and bridges, not the EV vehicles, because obviously we don't build those.
Well, also, I'm wondering about the multi-story parkades like the one we have just beside us.
Through the chair, like most structures themselves, they do have a carrying capacity. But I believe with regards to mobility perspective, that is much less. So there is a delta or difference between what that overall. It's very similar to when roads are designed. They're designed at a particular speed, which is higher than that of the posted speed. So it takes into factor that safety component. And I can't speak to that. Maybe that Works could speak to with regards to the specifications of the infrastructure that we build. But I do know that with regards to any structures that we do have, there are annual inspections with regards to what that is. Is there cracks? There's surface pavement that needs to be repaired from an annual basis, and that's factored into their annual budget.
Plus, you'd have the balance of, for example, pickup trucks versus the little Cooper Minis that are driving around lately, right? So some of the pickup trucks are very heavy, especially with the dual axles on the back, perhaps, as opposed to the little Minis. I see a lot of them on the road lately. They're going to be a lot less. So it's all balanced out, but I'm sure our engineers have done the right thing when we're building this, and the annual checks to make sure that it's not going to fall down because too many pickup trucks are in there.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Chair Henry?
Thanks. Just a little bit of latitude. For the movement of goods, we are using autonomous movement of goods within our warehousing systems as it exists. So just so council knows. But Chair, it's really important to understand that autonomous or GPS-driven vehicles are heavily involved in our ag community. And I know that I saw Stacy when I came in. I think Durham is now a leader in that technology, and I know it's unfair because the question hasn't been prepared, but I'm wondering if Stacy would like to comment on the GPS and some of the new driverless vehicles that are coming into our ag community, where Durham's represents about $1 billion worth of business to our economy.
I'm sure Stacy wouldn't mind talking to us.
Certainly. Thank you for mentioning that, Chair Henry, and through you, Chair Chapman. Yeah, the agriculture industry is certainly evolving and going in the direction of autonomous vehicles. And I think there's still a lot of work that needs to happen, but it's certainly being piloted, and farmers in Durham region here are implementing a lot of that technology, especially in commodity cropping and the cash cropping area of agriculture. So we're seeing that grow and evolve every single day. Farmers are very innovative people, and anything they can do to sort of make their lives easier, they're going to be doing. So drones, using precision agriculture is a major part of the industry these days. So that's a pretty high level comment, but I'd happily go into more detail in a follow-up if that would help.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's a good start, because when we move to the big vehicles being on the roads, I mean, there's a lot of safety factors and things that a little different. I think it's a great idea that they're out in the middle of a field and they can do all that stuff, but you know, driving down Highway 12, you know, into Scugog, maybe a different thing, right?
Sorry,
Councillor-
through you, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to add on to Chair Henry's point, just to bring it back to what we heard at the forum
Sure.
from particularly those working at ACE and through our colleges and universities. They mentioned that the controlled setting, so similar to what Chair Henry just mentioned with the autonomous infrastructure in place and operations more on the manufacturing side, that is working really well. So it's really where we need to focus on is getting that into the uncontrolled. So, you know, what we're seeing through on our actual roadways, that's where this is still a growing area that needs to be explored further, which we hope to be able to dig deeper in through the update of the strategy itself. So let's not lump it all together. I think these are kind of in slight isolation, and we're trying to get to our current context, but we can't lose sight of what is working, where we are testing them in very controlled environments. We are seeing the changes, and what we heard through forum participants, we are seeing it's going in a positive direction. So just want to emphasize some of those findings from the forum itself.
No, a very good point, Danielle. And those smaller things like inside warehouses, little robot trains and things like that, you know, they're the start of ending up with a tractor trailer running down the 400, you know, because you got to start someplace, and it's better to get all the glitches out, especially in one that's going to run into a stacked shelf than one that's going to run into a bus with 40 people in it. Right? Yeah, very good point, though. Thank you. Councillor Kerr again.
Actually, the points I was going to make earlier are probably best reserved for a coffee chat, so I won't extend this part of the meeting any further with my points. Thanks.
Well, thank you for that. Seeing no other questions, thanks, Danielle and Greg. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jackie Sievers, Manager Marketing and Cluster Development, re the Film Durham event, how to do business with the film and television industry. 2023 EDT 6, item 8.2A.
Good morning. Planning and Economic Development Committee. I'm presenting this overview of a recent Film Durham event, which was organized by our sector specialist, Eileen Kennedy, who unfortunately is unable to attend in person today. She is joining us remotely. Film and television production is thriving throughout Ontario, creating jobs and economic impact for local suppliers, vendors, and talent. Ontario has had a record-breaking year for film and television production in 2022, with 419 projects generating $3.15 billion in production revenue. Durham is rapidly growing as a preferred destination for film and television. Durham also had a record-breaking year in 2022, with 594 production days from 74 projects in the region. In comparison to 2021, this is an increase of 53% to production days and 37% more projects. In the past 10 years, since the Durham Region Film Office was formed, there has been a 165% increase in film and television production. On average, the region has hosted over 70 television series, feature films, movies of the week, commercials, documentaries, short films, and music videos each year. Major domestic and foreign studios bring these projects to Durham. They include Disney, CBS, Paramount, Amazon, Netflix, Shaftesbury, CBC, Apple TV, and MGM. The Durham Region Film Commission, or Film Durham, promotes Durham Region as a destination for film production and attracts film-related investment to the region. Film Durham and local area municipal film liaisons provide a seamless, efficient, and timely service to productions no matter where they are shooting in the region. This event is a great example of the partnership between Durham's film offices to attract and service and support the film industry. Production companies purchase a wide variety of goods and services across the Greater Toronto Area, and most of these services are available in Durham Region through our local businesses. This event provided the chance for local businesses to see how they can leverage the business opportunities provided by these projects. The event was a free event for the Durham Region business community. Attendees learned how to conduct business with the film and television industry in Durham Region and beyond. It also provided an opportunity for them to connect with the film industry and professionals. The event on Thursday, February 23rd at the Chestnut Hill Developments Recreation Center in the city of Pickering had a 3-hour program, which included a Film Durham industry overview and economic impact presentation, a Film Pickering presentation on the municipal experience, a panel discussion with industry experts and audience Q&A, which helped attendees understand the industry better and potential business opportunities, networking opportunities, and a reception with food and drink. Panelists at the event included location managers, a production manager, and production coordinator with experience working with feature film, television series, and commercial productions. Panelists engaged with the audience and covered topics such as what type of products or services might be sourced locally, how the film industry develops relationships with vendors, who drives the purchasing decisions for local spending, and what flexibility is required to ensure a successful typical filming day. The event received 240 registrations, which included regional and local councillors and the regional chair. Also in attendance was the Mayor of Port Hope and 2 representatives from the Canadian German Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Companies who attended the event provide a wide range of products and services, which include picture cars, landscape design, tourism services, entertainment insurance, caterers, restaurants, bus transportation, florists, vault storage, interior decorators, signage, construction, a day spa, rentals, hotels, and more. Information was provided to the attendees of the event of how to list their business in the Guide to Filming in Durham, and more than 40 companies have reached out to request to be included in the next edition. Film industry professionals use this guide when planning to film in Durham Region. The guide includes an overview of Film Durham, as well as maps and guidelines, resources, industry unions and guilds, and other film industry organizations and information, a directory of 600 local businesses categorized by their offering, which includes accommodations, equipment, post-production, support services, transportation, and more, and a location gallery, which showcases a diverse selection of locations from every municipality in Durham Region. Thank you very much for your time, and we would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, and we have Councillor Pickles online. Morning, David. You have to turn your microphone on. Oh, he went off. You have to hit the button again. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
There, you're good. Good to go.
Okay. I'm randomly hitting buttons here, but thank you. So thank you for your presentation. And I first want to say it was a wonderful collaboration between the region and the city and other municipalities. The day of the event, it was a stormy day. I was there, but there was still a very good turnout. And our own Catherine Hodge was the master of the ceremonies there. The one question I would have is, have we monitored what the feedback from the participants were, both the feedback on the event and people who have attendees there who were actually able to get on the lists and get work and become involved in the film industry? I know it might be a little bit early to gauge that, but are we monitoring to see how the participants have been able to take advantage of the opportunities?
Thank you for the question. Through the chair, we do follow up directly. So as I mentioned, there are 40 businesses that have reached out. That's a direct conversation with those businesses to include them in the filming guide. In terms of follow-up surveys, I'm actually not sure. I'll ask if Eileen Kennedy can turn on her microphone and speak to any further follow-up for feedback.
Yes, hello, can you hear me? So to the chair, yes, we are doing a follow-up on them. I have a number of emails from different folks who, business opportunities that they want to have with the film and television industry through different aspects of it, different products and services. So case by case basis, I'm introducing them to the key people, even in Ontario Creates, where they can be also on the Ontario Production Guide, putting them in touch with local location managers and other production professionals. And I am going to be putting out a survey shortly. Folks attended, and also other ones afterwards, so that they can get on how we can actually make this even more valuable in the future and reach even more businesses and the types of industry professionals that they need to be able to reach out to and meet on a one-on-one basis at this kind of an event.
Okay, thank you. And we had a presentation at our council meeting on Monday night as well. And the growth in the industry and the opportunities, it can be very lucrative for small businesses. And just to say, three things that I sort of took away from that event was you have to be able to speak the film language. They have a very specific language, the things that they need, the way they do business. Businesses have to be aware that timeliness is key to filming. When they need something right away. They don't need it tomorrow or the day after. They have a lot of people sitting on set paying a lot of money, and they need things very quickly. The third thing, and I wonder if you can speak to this as well, there seemed to be a real reliance on the film industry from provincial and federal grants. And they made it very clear that whatever services they acquired had to be on a list or eligible to a list to be eligible for the grant process, or however that works. Can you speak to that? Because that seemed to be a very important element to the presenters from the film industry that were there. Could you maybe explain that a little bit, and what our businesses need to do to make sure that they're eligible for the film industry's grant process?
Thank you. Through the chair, Eileen.
Okay, go ahead, Eileen.
So I think what they were referring to was, through the chair, I think what they were referring to was the Ontario Film and Television Tax Credits, of which there are several for both domestic and foreign service. So within those credits, which let's say one of them is 35%, which is huge for Ontario, shooting anywhere in Ontario. That put together with the dollar difference, especially between US and Canadian, is one of the biggest attractions for them coming here to Ontario. And as part of that tax credit, yes, their labor, their production spend in the community, et cetera, has to be tracked. It's not so much that there is a list where within the tax credit, a list where they have to meet certain standard, let's say for a products and services company, but on the Ontario production guide, I know they're very, very careful to make sure that any company that they are going to be listing in their particular guide has had some previous experience and understands and how to work with the film and television industry. As you already mentioned, it is a very unique industry, and they have to operate at a certain speed, let's say, and with a nimbleness and a flexibility. So the Ontario Production Guide, for instance, is very careful to actually work with each of these individual companies to ensure that they have the background, the knowledge, the expertise, and the experience, let's say, to be able to be a reputable company that's worth listing on the Action Guide. With our Durham, we are using it as more of a directory at the moment, but on a case-by-case basis, especially since we just had this event. It's been great for myself to reach out to these people and find out their experience already with the film and television industry and what products and services they have to offer, so that now we can actually work more closely with them and educate them and help support these businesses to get even more work through this industry. Does that answer your question well enough?
It does, and I appreciate that. And again, I think, our success has been based on the knowledge of our staff, yourselves at the region, Catherine Hodge at the city, to really know how to work with the film industry. And the more we can work with them, the better word of mouth we get, and the more filming that comes to Durham Region. So thank you all for the event and the update. Much appreciated.
Great, thank you. I don't see any other questions. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. A late request here, Councillor Shahid.
Just a very quick one through you, Chair Chapman. As to we're doing very good inroad work of bringing businesses to the film industry, but how are we approaching the film industry? Is that organic, or this is a constant touch base with them within our economic development?
Thank you. Through the chair, we do a number of marketing initiatives to try to attract film investment into the region. We are active on social media. We are connected with companies on social media through, for example, William F. White, or through different studios that are active in the region. We advertise in industry and trade publications. Our sector specialist, Eileen, attends a number of events and networking opportunities, and there are marketing opportunities there as well, where she's able to provide packages to location scouts. Those are events both in Canada and internationally to work with that industry. We also work through partnerships. So Ontario Creates has a location gallery. We provide locations. We also have our own location gallery, which you can search through our website, which provides dozens of locations that you can search through. And that's just a high level, but there's kind of all kinds of ongoing networking and industry engagement. One area that I will point to as well, which is not so much about attracting investment, but supporting the industry, is our career fairs. So on May 8th, we have the next Film and Television Industry Career Fair. That's for students and adults who are interested in working in the industry. And that fair is put on with all of the unions and guilds and industry professionals present. So that's a way of making sure that the film productions that do come to Durham Region have the workforce that are required to make them seamless and successful.
Thank you so much. One further question through you, Chair Chapman, on the fact that, is there an index where we kind of see, are we doing the best we can in order to attract them? Can we do even more? That's what I wanted to know. I mean, I'm sure we are, but just this is new to me per se, where I am seeing a lot of interest within our communities, be it Oshawa or where Mayor Wotton is, or where we are in town of Whitby. So I'm just wondering, what is the index? Can we do more? Are we doing enough?
So through the chair, thank you for the question. It is about 10 years old now that we've had a film office, and we've seen exponential growth in that window of time. But absolutely, we are developing a strategy to look at that office again and the activities undertaken by that office, and looking at planning for the future ahead as we continue to achieve growth. So that's one process that we are working on for this year and probably into early next is redeveloping that strategy. Another thing that we're doing is looking at, in the example of the recent production Thanksgiving, which was in Port Perry, is looking at a business case about that production. So looking at the economic impact of that production, and that helps us present business case information into other communities. Certainly being film friendly and the ongoing development of it is a productive way to build the industry. It's difficult to do all at once because you've got a lot of education in terms of the businesses that are prepared, the workforce that is prepared, the communities that are prepared for the permitting and what the impact would be on the community and other elements. So building it over time is the strategy, and we'll continue to look at ways to do that.
Thank you so much. Yes, there are definitely so many nuances. So I do appreciate that upper level introduction to us. Thank you so much. Thank you all, Chair Chapman.
So Eileen has something to offer on that. Eileen?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, in addition to what Jackie was mentioning, she did a great job with the presentation. So thank you. Yeah, we market, for instance, down in Los Angeles to the studio executives and the physical production folks, the ones that are actually have projects in pre-development or in development and who are looking to come to Ontario. So we are always trying to obviously get them to choose Durham. Also, other avenues that we're involved in is with Ontario Creates. They have a new 2-year-old strategic plan now for Ontario Green Screen, meaning that production is going green. And there's a number of different activities and areas that they are looking into where we can do reusable, recyclable economy, where they can get film and television production off of the generators. I've already provided 15 different spaces within Durham region that can be used as a base camp. We work closely with them as a member of the advisory committee for the Ontario Green Screen. That even opens up further business opportunities for those companies that offer green solutions. And the film liaisons, I work closely with them. On a monthly basis we meet, and I'm already making some arrangements for them to have some training through the Association of Film Commissioners International, of which Durham Region Film Commission is a member. So those sorts of things, different ways and means of growing the sector within Durham Region and making those key connections are very, very valuable.
Great. Thank you, Eileen, and thanks, Jackie. There doesn't seem to be any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we now move on to reports and planning. 7.2, it's Freight and Goods Movement Forum, 23P14. The recommendation is that the Planning and Economic Committee recommends to Regional Council that this report be received for information and that a copy of this report be provided to the Ontario Ministry of Transportation and Durham Region's area municipalities. Moved by Councillor Kerr, seconded by Mayor Watton. Anybody wish to speak on that matter? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. The next one is the information report 2023 Info 27 of the Commissioner of Planning Economic Development North Durham Online Business Tools. It was pulled from the information package by Mayor Watton. Did you want to move the receive for information, Mayor? Yes, thank you. Can I have a seconder? Chair Henry. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And the next report is 2023 EDT6 Film Durham event, how to do business with the film and television industry. That's a receive for information, moved by Councillor Shayeed. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Kerr. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We have an advisory committee resolution, Durham Active Transportation Committee for June Bike Month, the approval and subsequent recommendation to Regional Council, moved by Councillor Kerr, seconded by Mayor Watton. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. There are no confidential matters. Other business? Seeing none, can I have Mayor Watton?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to Commissioner Bridgman. I just have a question, and I'm sure you've been fielding many of them with respect to Bill 23 and 97 and the pending approval of our official plan. And I note that with respect to Bill 97, you will be coming back to Planning and Economic Committee with your comments on that on the 6th of June. I also note that several municipalities, Waterloo and York, had their official plans approved, and once sent to the ministry, they were substantially changed in some areas. So my question is, are we being premature in approving the official plan on the 17th of May when the commenting periods for Bill 97 and 23 are not complete, and we haven't even necessarily received your comments on Bill 97?
Commissioner? All right. Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for those questions, and they're good questions. First of all, my opinion, my recommendation would be no, that we not wait, that we not pause, that Durham Region Council press on and adopt Envision Durham, the new official plan, as you'll see come forward tomorrow, as a matter of fact, in an early release. Based on the planning regime that we've been using for the last 3 years. The planning regime does change from time to time. We can't predict exactly how the new PPS or Bill 97 or anything might change in the go forward. So to pause it and basically start all over again, which is a possibility, is something that we wouldn't be recommending. You're right that when our official plan goes to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, it's certainly within the Minister's purview to make whatever amendments, changes as he sees fit. And then we'll have to see where all of that ends up. And if ministry staff need any help from us to sort of do some recrafting to respond to the new PPS changes, et cetera, we're certainly on board to help with that. But bottom line, Chair, my recommendation is that we press on.
Thank you. And further through Chair Chapman, I wasn't suggesting that we start over by any means. It's taken long enough to get to this point. But what I was suggesting or putting out for consideration was whether we should have your comments to us pre the approval. That was more what I was hinting at, rather than suggesting we start over, because it has been a long journey, and I certainly wouldn't want to see us have to do that. But also further to that, should we approve it and these bills go through or create substantial changes, how do we as a region then handle them through our official plan? Or will they just change the scope of it?
Commissioner? Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. So again, I do understand sort of the question. Should we wait until we have wrestled down our comments on the new PPS? That's the June 6th deadline. This new PPS, which is quite a fundamental retooling of planning in Ontario. And I know you're not suggesting that we do redo the official plan, but my opinion remains that I think we stay the course. Bill, or rather the new PPS, is so different. Our comments, we've started to kick it around a little bit. We've been consumed with Envision Durham to this point, so we're not really into the depth of it. But I think that the point is the regime that we're proceeding under now is different than the regime that would be coming forward, and it's not comparable. I think it's an interesting time, and I think that our recommendation is to put it before council, and our recommendation will be that council adopt the new plan.
Sorry, I shut it off. I didn't mean to. Okay, so respecting that, do you have any idea, as the second follow-up to my question originally, was how, if these things come through, it would impact our official plan if it's approved?
Pardon me. Thank you. Well, there's a couple of scenarios. And Bill 23 comes into the mix as well. So Bill 23 did propose that the upper tier official plan, upon proclamation, no longer is within the purview of regional council, that it would get put down to the area municipalities. They would take the portions of the regional official plan that are relevant to them. They would have carriage of that, and at some point over time, each individual area municipality would be updating its official plan based on what they have before it and presumably the new regional official plan. But if there's an entirely new regime that lower tiers now have to conform to based on the new PPS that we've seen, it really could be different. So all to say, I don't know, but fundamentally, area municipalities will have to update their official plans based on starting with the provincial planning framework and the new PPS such as it is at the time.
Okay, I think that's clearer and a little bit more scary. Thank you.
As I understand too, Commissioners, that the provincial staff are suggesting that we carry on with our plan and looking forward to getting it and doing whatever they do to it. Is that correct?
Thank you, Chair Chapman. Yes, that's correct. We haven't heard otherwise, that provincial staff are encouraging the region to press on and get the new plan before council.
And as what's happened with other regions, when it gets to the minister, any of those changes that may or may not be coming through those other legislation that really haven't been completely defined yet, the minister can change it, of which there's no appeal to, right?
Correct.
Right, thank you. Councillor Neal?
Yeah, I guess my question is rather similar to what Mayor Watna. I was going to see what the commissioner in his comments, he pretty well summed it up, but I was hoping that the May 17th meeting could be moved, even though it's at the late stage of the game. It's probably been advertised to the public and the staff, according to what the commissioner has said, but I'm still thinking that it's premature that we approve this at this time with the dates that we have going forward. Is everything set in stone going forward with these dates, Commissioner? I guess that's the question, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, actually, I can answer that. Yes, they are. They, as the commissioner said, the release of the report will be out sometime tomorrow. And the meeting is set, the special meeting on May 17th. It's been advertised both to the public, of which I know of half a dozen people that have contacted me about how to become a delegate. So to change that would have a negative effect on the public, I believe. So those pieces are set. The recommendation will come with that report tomorrow. And of course, if anybody on council wants to make any amendments, they can attempt to persuade the rest of council to amend it to whatever they want. The suggestion is, though, if that any members of council are going to make any amendments, they should submit them to the clerk in writing before the next week would be great, ahead of the meeting.
Yeah, and just follow up to that.
The commissioner has something. Hold on, the commissioner has something to add to that. Go ahead.
All right.
Sorry, Commissioner. Go ahead.
Thank you. I was just going to add, Chair Chapman, that Tomorrow, I will send an email to all members of council to advise that it has been posted, the new plan has been posted on the Envision Durham website. I will attach a copy of the report, and I'll make a note too to encourage, if members of council do have motions, changes, as you say, to the plan, ideally to send them in advance. It's not a mandatory requirement, but that would be preferred, and we can assist with some wording if councillors would like.
Great, thanks, Commissioner. Councillor Neal?
Yeah, and just further to that, what about the local municipalities, our actual planners who are going to get evidently end up with this? Well, like, are they going to be advising the local councillors as to what we should be asking? Because I mean, they're the ones that are going to be involved the heaviest load in regards to taking on the official plan. What, in winter 2024? I believe it's probably going to stretch out to that. So are we getting all excited about something that the province is going to try and now slow down when they see that things aren't just exactly going to work out the way that they figured it's going to work out? Through you, Mr. Chair.
Well, I don't think we're getting overexcited, and the regime that we've been working under, that staff has been working under for the last I think it's been 3 years of Envision Durham, has been what the planning process is in place right now. If the government changes that, I mean, we've heard a whole pile of announcements, but there's a lot of legislation that hasn't been passed, the regulations to some of the legislation that has been passed hasn't come out yet. So we being the royal we, the staff, are working on the rules that are in place right now and bringing Envision Durham forward. If the rules change after we've made our regional official plan, that's when I believe the minister will put his fingers into that when it sits up on his desk or his staff's desk for that final approval. With regards to local planning, if you want to speak to your local planning staff and ask them if there's anything in the plan when it comes out that they might feel more comfortable with you bringing an amendment forward or something, you're more than welcome to do that. But don't forget, during this whole process, that the local planning staffs have also been involved, and there's been many supports from the local lower tiers on their position on Envision Durham, including in Oshawa, where we are. We took a position, I don't know, 6 months, a year ago, as to where we were. I think it's probably a year ago now, right? May of last year. Yeah. Does that help you?
Okay. Well, as long as everybody's, I mean, in the process, I can see where there's going to be some gaps, and it's like going to be, I think, a little bit hard on some people to get this through with, especially when they're passing the certain bills and they're throwing something at us that we don't know if it's going to be dealt with, if we have to deal with it within the next couple of weeks, and then we have our local staff. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess the only response to that is that as much as the next level of government may throw some things at us, like you said, as the commissioner said, he's comfortable with moving it forward at this stage, and his recommendation is that we get on with it and see what happens from the province when it happens. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Motion to adjourn by Chair Henry, seconded by Councillor Shahid. 2 reminders, June 6th is our next actual planning committee meeting, but the big date is May the 17th. I will see all your smiling faces here then. All in favor of adjournment? Opposed? Thank you very much.